Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the State of Affairs podcast with Maharaj. Uh, Today, I have a very packed schedule for the other conversations as well. But this one is very special, given the way this person who is my guest for today's conversation uh, is someone who has an incredible and impeccable record of being such a popular personality when it comes to her work and when it comes to youth of this country. The reason being, I have cut across her work on her different social media platforms, and apart from that, also across her pride ups and across her appearances at different platforms. She is Sagina Walyat, and I'm delighted to have been joined by her. Welcome on the conversation, Sagina. And for the larger audience, I would first like to outline she's a lawyer and policy advocate. She's also the founder of the Beacon of Light Rights organization. She is a Asia Global Fellow with the University of Hong Kong. Apart from that, she has been a delegate at Australia India bilateral dialogue. And supplementary to this is that she has been president of the SAC Business Council South Asia. It's quite a delightful work that she has been doing. So first of all, I'd like to welcome her on this very important and I mean looking forward to an insightful conversation, Sagina. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you, Maharaj. Thank you for this wonderful introduction. I humbly accept that because that's again a gender issue. So I'll highlight that because whenever it comes to people introduce you with your achievements, usually women what you do. Okay, you are just being so nice. So we need to accept that this is a gender issue, and we have to, I also practice that in my personal life that we have to accept it more
Yeah,
gracefully. Thank you very much for that, and thank you for inviting.
I'll put this on record because whatever I have just pronounced as before you spoke is that it just happened because it is purely the natural form. I won't edit this part, whatever you said that about the gender, although I have been the advocate of gender equality through and through by my work, by my podcasts, and by the academy that I run. I have also been always been vocal about issues that women face, and also somebody who wants women to be at the forefront of many things, many developments, be the leaders of the change, be the people who are involved into the decision making at the political level, at the social economic level as well. So it has been nonetheless a very good uh, work that you have been doing. Kindly tell us more about it.
All right, so I'll first talk about my foundation that I founded in 2008. But before that, it was all our unorganic, unorganized work that we have been doing since 2014. So my first issue that was addressing the legal literacy in India, but predominantly I started from Punjab, that's my home state, and then gradually we extended it to Haryana and other parts of India, and then gradually pan India through collaboration with different individuals who are working in this area, and through sometimes with different organizations. Um, Also, when it comes to policy and everything that we also collaborate with ministry and UN women. And the next stop, yes.
Yeah, continue.
Okay, so it's umbrella that in my foundation that we work on legal literacy. We provide pro bono services as well to especially to women. That is free legal assistance for them, and also take free legal matters when the woman is destitute and doesn't have it. By and large, we also cover digital literacy and also cover. We have established libraries also in the rural Punjab with a focus on after COVID, especially felt the need to establish that because we saw huge women girls school dropout. So that was the kind of structure we created in the library, providing them vision and providing them resources through books, how they want to pursue their career further, and providing the vision by and large. what they can do with their existing education they have in their hands. Because generally, what you see in rural areas of Punjab and Haryana, you'll see that, okay, woman has educated, completed her 10th standard, and now after that, with that education, what would you do? They just marry off them. So there is, a very a lack of awareness, a lack of a vision building, that how they can utilize this kind of education. And for me personally, that is very important, because the entire exercise of education, the entire resources government put, the families put, that will go futile if we are not getting out productivity, or we are not profiting from them. The third dimension we address is SRHR rights, that talks about menstruation and the menopause awareness in all these um, rural areas. While going back to the legal literacy, I want to highlight legal literacy is just not a thing that we can, attach to people who are uneducated, or people coming from a very humble background or from rural area. Legal literacy is a challenge in India, because be it, from the diverse, we address diverse audience, be it you are educated, you are not educated, because the law language, the legal language is a challenge. People cannot understand that easily, and the result is they either can be victim by the courts, as in when I say courts, the lawyers who are not really good with ethics, so they exploit them. And the another dimension is women don't know their rights, even though the schemes are there, even though the legislation is there, favorable legislations are there, but ultimately that is not reaching up to the stakeholders or reaching up to the beneficiaries. So it's very important to break that, because the legal language is a big barrier. And the fourth dimension we also address through policies. Whatever work we do, we understand where we lack, we try to bridge the lacunas. For example, while addressing the audiences, be it city audience, urban audience, or the rural audience, when it comes to helpline, so we usually are, do you know the women helpline? Very less heads you will say shaking, nodding in yes. So that's a challenge, because it's whenever it comes to understanding your situation. Suppose a woman is in a panic situation, so your human mind doesn't work. It's very clear. So it's very difficult for a woman to recall, okay, I have to dial this number. No, that's humanly not possible to recall that number in that urgency, because it's not 24/7 in front of our eyes. So for that, we have also very recently we made a recommendation to women ministry as well, that why don't we utilize our resources in a way that can help women to protect and to protect their safety and bring that safety to their houses. And we are now we have recommended to use LPG cylinders, because that has a reach to 300 million houses in India, the second biggest in the world uh, country. We are using LPG domestic cylinders. So why don't we print those helplines on those cylinders that women can see very easily 24/7? That thing is in front of you. So it will somewhere, work in your brain, set in your brain that under that, panic situation, you can right away dial that. And we also recommended that the child helpline can also be imprinted on that. So this is my work especially focus on work within your resources. If you don't have resources, don't run after creating resources. That will take huge amount of your time, and you're missing that one point, important point. And just try to figure out the things within your available resources. That was the point we made before the ministry, and they're quietly excited about this idea, and hopefully they will do it soon.
And being realistic about the work you have been doing, it's extraordinary. And before we can get into the next point and next phase of this conversation, two things that I want to know from you is that there is a feminist discourse in the narrative building at the academic level also, and a women empowerment or feminist thing in the real world as well. I mean, I don't deny the fact that whatever has been written, whatever has been researched upon isn't real. But when it comes to the actionable part of it, you have been associated with many of the projects where many of the prospects and projects as well, where you have discovered many things and you have been able to cater many of the problems of women. Are these two things connected in the discourse? I mean, feminists do talk about a lot of things, a lot of injustices that are right within their own, within their own domain. But uh, what about the actionable work that can be done? I mean, you have worked across different countries, across different landscapes. What are the common things that, as an individual, as a researcher, you discovered from this work? Because it comes to the gender equality. The question is basically the gender equality. And you being at the forefront of it, how have you been dealing with this? How have you observed things on the ground?
Okay, I'll start from my home country, India. So per se, if we come from the point of view of government, they don't believe in any ism. So feminism is not a thing for them. They will address. Definitely, they will go for women empowerment. They are doing a lot of work. A lot of, I mean, all the successive governments have done a lot of work. That's why we are here. And we are now extending on to women-led development, not just women empowerment as well. So it shows the trajectory of successful trajectory we have received. So feminism per se is a word, whenever it comes, it receives both kind of reactions, very intense also and very good also. So we have to deal with that. And personally, if I'll say, if I take my personal example, it has done a lot of impact on me, even though at my early age, very young age, I was not aware about the word feminism per se. It is the kind of thing, that word that has channeled the entire world to talk about women rights, to bring women on tables. So for me, it is very important. Alongside, I will not deny that somewhere that there is a set, percentage of population globally, I would say, and there are some moments also which talks about anti-feminism as well. It has created that kind of space. But along with that, I would say there is a misinformation that is playing a role. When I say misinformation, we can talk about this also because I have worked on this as well. Misinformation when it comes to gender, it has impacted women growth in number of matters. Okay, well, coming back to your question, the world you are seeing right now was not the same before 1970s. And 1970s is the era when the feminism actually got introduced throughout the world. So it has brought so many through those moments in different part of the world. Now we are seeing a lot of legislations, a lot of schemes, favorable women schemes. That was the need of the hour. In some of the countries, they are still fighting. Just we can take example of West Asia. They're still fighting for the basic rights. They just introduced, giving women driving license and women franchising, right to vote. So we are developing on that, and feminism is helping because it's a kind of umbrella term which is bringing all together. But widely, if I talk about feminism, feminism is just not about women rights. It's about all the genders, and we should not see women feminism, against men or versus men. Is against patriarchy, not against men. So that patriarchal mindset we are trying to counter, and somewhere we are successful also. Take example of Europe. In fact, take example of South Asia also. We have so much now in our hands. Yeah.
When we talk about the issues and the challenge that stem out of this patriarchal setting of things, you have been awarded, you have been named by the Times of India as the five most amongst the five most powerful women and powerful young people that you must be proud of because of the work you have been doing. But my question is that the challenge that you faced all through this process of from being a student to being a researcher and to being now on the ground, if you can just manage to tell us few, some of the things that you faced as an ordinary person rising to this level of power or level of world where you can actually make a difference.
Yeah. So, as you rightly mentioned, as a original person, if I can quote what challenges I had faced and now what transition I see, the same generation now, a lot has changed. In my times, even opting for law was a challenge in my family. And I'm a first generation lawyer, and I come from a very small town, in small town in Punjab, that is adjacent to border Pakistan. So for me, making a choice was an issue, and that too for law because it is not female profession that they used to say that time that you cannot sustain it. This is a male dominated profession. And then next challenge was somehow I made them agree, and the next challenge was practicing law again, an issue. Leave aside the family issues. The society is not accepting you. Your clients are not accepting you. They are not trusting you that you can handle their cases. So I'm a criminal lawyer. So they don't used to give me the cases. Okay, no, a girl cannot manage such critical cases. Eventually it took time and now we are moving, but still if I quote you my high court percentage of practicing women, you will see 10% 10% lawyers registered, women lawyers registered, but the actual practicing women lawyers are 2 to 3%. So again, it's a challenge, it's a big challenge. I don't have to go out and figure out the things in my house, in my workplace. Gender is an issue. um, but I'm an optimist person. I believe there are so many changes we are bringing. And comparing it, my times to now, this generation, it's a bit easier, bit acceptable, and I'm happy about that. But again, I will not say everything is transmit into good. They have different challenges. Now, moving from one state to another state, leaving your families behind because there is no growth, and then women go out. There are some they go for rental places and everything. So they have when they see women, they put so many conditions, and those conditions are not same for the boy student or the boy young professional. There will be timing issues. There will be, how can you say a boy, young boy and young female professional can compete each other when you are cutting down their working time period? So they are supposed to get back at, for example, 8 p.m. And that professional, the other boy professional, that is coming back on 11 or 12 p.m. So it will also decrease the productivity in the office as well. Of course, the promotion will go to the male counterpart, not the female counterpart. In contemporary era, there are different challenges, but huge challenges. Leaving aside my professional things, let's come back to the rural area. Let's come back to the normal, day routine challenges. Making a choice is still a big issue in India throughout for women, be it marriage, be it utilizing your salary, using your finances. These are the big issues women are considering. And the saddest point is even women are not aware about this. I am earning, I am getting my salary, but that salary is either going in the what we say joint account, right, with their family, or if she is married with her husband, or if she has separate accounts, still she is accountable to for that amount to the family, where it went, how did you use it. So that same accountability we are not asking from men or the male members of the family. So what is the point of all the resources we have put to make the woman empowered, but still we have not society who is ready to accept those empowered women? We are still lacking that. And in that umbrella, there are so many challenges. For example, let's talk about POSH Act. It came in 2013. Now, the challenge, I would say, just straight away, is 2024, almost a decade we have crossed. Do you see effective implementation of Posh Act in India? It's a big question. And the answer everybody knows that the answer is no. But the point is, we are putting so much, government is putting so much resources, but when it comes to, even I would say the feminist organization, the organization who are working on women rights, they have mainstream Posh Act, they have mainstream feminism. But when it comes to, effectively implement those feminist character in their organization, they are still leading by the patriarchal mindset. And that is the saddest affair because all the women from my generation, especially from my mother generation, especially, we have been unknowingly, knowingly been conditioned. We need so much to unlearn before we will bring something new to the coming generation.
The thing that you talked about in your earlier statement was that there has been a lot of misinformation that has happened, and it has perhaps derailed the argument from the pure feminist perspective and from the equality perspective as well. Has it happened on the both sides? Have the both genders being have the both males and females being responsible for this misinformation, or there is more to it that some of us as students, as learners, don't understand or comprehend to?
Misinformation per se is, I cannot say gender is one dimension that I brought out when I was, doing a research on misinformation, how it's going to impact adolescent mind. That we did a study with the Chandigarh Child Commission. So our motto was to figure out that. But eventually, when we were, getting into that, we understood how it's impacting gender, and the women empowerment and the growth the states or the center is making in this direction. Why I'm saying this is impacting differently is, for example, whenever any woman favored scheme comes in, any state government launches, or there are legislation, like example, we recently received 33% um, women quota in state in this Lok Sabha and legislative assemblies. So whenever the reaction is immediately as, why do we need that? Women are equal. Why are they asking this? So that's the instant reaction. But we need to understand and why it is coming, because those kind of misinformation that is surrounding in social media, that is being propelled in social media. Another example is fake cases. So there's one predominantly notion is going on, women are filing fake cases. Agree. No, we cannot say women are victim all the time. They can also be, on the other side of that. They can also misuse it. We agree. But do you know the percentage of fake cases women filed by women? There is no per se official data on that. And if there are very slight studies who are talking about it, they have quoted it up to 4%. 4% versus 96%. Who should win? Men. The patriarchal mindset is win. And
Let's
when
accept the fact even the minutest things also do count when it comes to the percentage. The argument should have been not 96% versus the 4%. It should have been the honesty and the simplicity and sincerity of the people who are involved.
I need to develop on this.
See, my point is, give me a minute to explain this. Is if suppose the 4% cases that have come are happen because there have been false informations, forged cases against the people. Those 4% does count in a million or 2 million or 10 million or 1 billion or 1.4 billion people. They count a lot, and the cases count a lot. It counts about lives. Even a slightest 1% or 0.01% does count. The argument, because this argument helps people who go against the equality argument, it helps them because if it's about a percentage, At the end of the day, it's about lives, it's about people, it's about humans. The argument should have been different place. That's just my personal observation. Not necessarily you'll agree with it. But that the 4% and 96% argument does not hold ground to my understanding, because uh, it's about the amount of people you're talking about. 4% in India is a lot. 4% cases in India is a
I
lot.
need to develop that. I need to develop that. It can address your, uh, concern. When I say, let's going back to 4%, when I say 4%, do you know what is the parameter of deciding it that this is a fake case? The only parameter was acquittal. Acquittal can happen on, failure of producing evidence. The acquittal can happen not having enough proof. According to court, it can happen of not being represented by a court lawyer, because the women's state is that usually they are not financially efficient. Even the urban women, generally, what actually culture we see, not very women go to court. They always try to have, and if they approach court in approach police also. So there's again a very patriarchal, you may disagree on that, I know a lot of people do that. But whenever the woman approaches police, so their first effort is to save the marriage, not to punish the culprit. That also reduces down. Leaving on to that and coming back to the 4%, the parameter of fake case should not be the acquittal. The only parameter to decide 4% should be, does that case had all the evidences to show that the woman has filed the fake case? This should be the parameter. So then again, I will say, again, there is no study, because this study is also questionable. So when we do not have any study, we do not have any data, we do not have any research, official research, how can we say this? And the entire notion, the entire argument, that is why I say, quote it as a misinformation that is impacting women empowerment, that is in fact, creating hindrance to launch more women empowered schemes.
Cutting across the points and the things that you have been talking about all this half an hour. One last thing is that one first before the last, I'll say is you have been a brand ambassador of youth empowerment. I mean, you have made inroads to some of the good achievements in life. And what are the suggestions for people like who are your juniors and people who follow you and people who are inspired by your work and your being vocal about issues of women? What are the suggestions?
My instant suggestion would be what I have practiced in my life, that is persistence. We all make wrong decisions, right decisions. Don't sit on to that. Sometimes what happened, we make right decision, we are profiting out of then, like, okay, I'm contented now. You should have your vision. You have resources, you have intent, but if you don't have a vision, these two things are not of any use. So just be persistent with your goals. Just be persistent. Keep, creating opportunities. The world is tough. It's a competitive world, and also I would say the element of emotional quotient is also very important in this world. We cannot entirely run this world on machines and intellect. We also need some kindness as well. So practice that, I would say.
That's quite wonderful and quite inspiring. And one last thing is that before we'll sign it off is the book list for people who are new to this the world of feminist discourse. What are the books that you will recommend as a person who is senior to us all?
So actually, that's a very tough question for me because I generally, spend most of my time in studying my researches and legal work and everything. But I do follow Arthashastra. I do follow Gita and the spiritual books mostly. I recently finished my book Beyond Religion by His Holiness the Dalai Lama. And few more books, like I like reading Michelle Obama. Her book Becoming is very beautifully. She has narrated the entire stories and challenges the women face in this contemporary world and how we can surpass that. And beyond that, I would say nowadays also we have some amazing books coming from the foreign minister, India Way, Why Bharat Matters. So yeah, I have a very diverse interest in different fields. So I keep reading all those stuff, and reading is very important. It doesn't matter what you are reading, just follow your interests and just take inspiration and take practical lessons from that. I also one book I would recommend is uh, what was the name of that? It was written by Jampa Lahiri.
Mm.
Um,
Jampa Lahiri.
can you help me recall that name?
No, no, because I myself have forgotten that. I do know the
Okay.
author, Jampa Lahiri,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I have
Jampa
forgotten.
Lahiri, and I also really like Amrita Preetham, Pinjar. So yeah, a lot of why I say diverse. Actually, if you're interested in gender and want to go ahead with feminism as well, it's not that stick to this topic, because gender is a concern that is connected
And
everywhere
it's
in
an it's
AI,
a
in
it's
all the
it's an
Google Trends.
evolving discourse, isn't it?
Yes. So read everything you like. Go follow
Mm.
your interest and find the gender out of that. So I would
So
say
again, you
that
joined
way.
me on a short note. Thank you so much. Finally, we have been able to conduct this conversation. I'll be putting this on air, I guess, a week after this podcast is recorded, and I hope that next time, whenever we cross the ways of each other on virtually, I hope that we'll be having another podcast some other day before we have a summer in our town, and that will help
It's
us
really
also
cold. I'm
recapitulate
freezing here.
certain ideas. Thank you so much for being so insightful and so informative about your work. It's seriously an inspiration for many of the people who have been following you, and also uh, your entire area, your region, your state, and your country is proud of you for making such a wonderful contribution to this discourse of equality and gender equality. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Maharaj. Thank you. It was really wonderful to have a discussion with you. I
Thank you.
thoroughly enjoyed. Thank you.